All right, everybody, we are breathing a sigh of relief. It doesn't sound like David Montgomery is going anywhere.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's good, everybody? Matt Dery with you. It is a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network on a Wednesday, February 4th into Thursday, February 5th. Thanks for making us your first listen and being with us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe and check us out on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. The great Andrew Siciliano, inside coverage on Yahoo Sports, their great podcast, the voice of the Cleveland Browns. Used to be on NFL Network, and of course, the original Red Zone host. Andrew's going to join us momentarily on the program. We'll get his thoughts on the Lions, the Super Bowl, and everything else. But we got to dive right into the big topic that is just hitting this afternoon, and that is the following. David Montgomery is making the rounds at the Super Bowl, Radio Row and TV Row and whatever they call it. And he was on the NFL Network today talking up Jahmyr Gibbs. He was on NBC Sports Network today with Chris Sims and Connor Rogers talking up Drew Petzing. And it looked like a David Montgomery that was happy, content, good tone, and will be back in 2026. Why am I bringing this up? Why am I excited? Well, number one, he spoke. We haven't heard from him since the end of the season. There were cryptic messages on Instagram. There was Brad Holmes, Lions GM, in his exit press conference at the end of the year, basically being like, yeah, I don't know if David Montgomery's going to be back. We hope so. We love him, but, we'll see. And Montgomery today made the rounds and said all the right things. I want to play you an audio clip first and foremost here. This was from the interview that he did on the NFL Network, asked about playing alongside Jahmyr Gibbs, sharing carries. Let's take a listen to this. Again, this was from the NFL Network earlier today.
Teams in the NFL are starting to realize how important it is to have two guys and two really great guys. And the really good teams have the rarity of having two really good guys. And, Jahmyr is one of, if not the best running backs in the league. And I believe, I'm a damn good back myself. And every chance I get to try to showcase myself, I will. And I just think having us both together and us both being as selfless as we are, I think is really important. But, it's something special to be a part of. I think.
All right, there was David Montgomery sounding like an awesome teammate, sounding like a guy that is ready to run back the Sonic and Knuckles situation. And I have said it from day one, you want to have good players on your team. You want to have good depth on your team. The Detroit Lions are a better football team when David Montgomery is there. And this season was a disappointment. It didn't work out. The run game wasn't as good as it had been the last couple of years. The Gibbs-Montgomery combo did not produce like it did in 2023 and 2024. And David then went on the Chris Sims and Connor Rogers show, or whatever it's called, on NBC Sports Network, and reiterated he talked to Drew Petzing, really liked what Petzing had to tell him. Petzing told him, we're going to get back to utilizing you and using both guys. Sims flat out asked Montgomery in the interview, how difficult, you're a starting running back in this league. Montgomery's like, damn right I am. He's like, well, how difficult is it to have to share carries and adapt to playing with a guy that's so good in Jahmyr Gibbs? And Montgomery's like, I'm the ultimate teammate. I just want to win. We want to get to the Super Bowl. So this was a nice change of pace today to listen to and watch David Montgomery, Lions veteran running back, breathe a little bit, get away from the end of the season. Now we're into February. The Lions season's been done now for a month, and just sound like a guy that's coming back to be on the team. And again, Brad Holmes was a little bit more doom and gloom on Montgomery than I thought he would be in his final press conference of the season. It didn't sound like, what did we say the minute we played you all that audio and we talked about the quotes? Didn't sound like Holmes was rubber stamping that Monty would be back. Look, I get it. All right. The Lions have so many talented players on offense, and it's very difficult to try to get every guy involved every week, whether it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, who arguably are the best at their craft at their spots, Sam LaPorta, Jamison Williams, Montgomery. Lions are stacked. They love Tesla. That Lions have really a lot of good weapons, and it is difficult. And I know there were games this year that Montgomery was frustrated not getting touches. I get that there were little cryptic messages on his social media pages. But boy, oh boy, in doing the little car wash routine that he was doing at the Super Bowl, at the media center today, he sounded like a guy that's coming back. He sounded like a guy that's excited. He sounded like a guy that's motivated and loves playing with Jahmyr Gibbs and understands that, hey, look, Petzing's coming in here. We're going to get back to running the football and doing what we do best and utilizing our talents and our skill sets. Last year was not good. All right. There were games the offense was phenomenal and the defense was bad. There were games where the offense was bad and the defense had to carry them. But, all the talk at the end of the year about does David Montgomery just want to go somewhere else? Because he could start just about anywhere else. Right? Aaron Glenn, send him off to New York with the Jets because he would get 30 carries a game maybe with Aaron Glenn. Maybe the Jets just let Breece Hall go and Montgomery's the guy and he's reunited with Aaron Glenn. No, David Montgomery wants to be in Detroit. There's a reason he signed an extension a couple years ago. There's a reason, he really hasn't publicly ever said on microphone, get me out of here. I don't love splitting carries. I'm frustrated. There was none of that. There was frustration because the team was 9-8 and not 15-2 or whatever they were the year before. So really happy to see this tone, these statements made by David Montgomery, and hopefully he's back this season and a part of a very, very good offense that, improves and gets the team back to where they want to be. But I love this. This was great today. All right. So that's a little bit of a sigh of relief today, listening to David speak about this past season and what's ahead for 2026 with him and the Detroit Lions. All right. Andrew Siciliano, he hosts the Inside Coverage Yahoo Sports NFL podcast. He's also the voice of the Cleveland Browns. You remember him from the NFL Network. He and I go way back. One of my dear, dear friends from college, WAER days at Syracuse back in the 90s. He's going to join us. He was on Radio Row. He was up in San Francisco earlier this week. We're going to talk to him about Super Bowl, the Lions, and everything else. We'll do that coming up next here on a Wednesday. Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms and how you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online, you just do it. It's great. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms, and they work to get you every deduction. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150. That's it, all in. But TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February the 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local. That's TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And Locked On Lions today is sponsored by BetterHelp. February can be a lot. Flowers, candy, stuffed animals, so much talk about relationships, right? And it can also honestly feel like everyone else has it all together in their love life. But here's the truth. Whether you're married, dating, single, or just focusing on you, most people are still just figuring it out. No matter where you are in your romantic journey, therapy can help you find your way. It can help you get clear on what you want, what feels heavy, and how to take some pressure off yourself. It's easy to assume everyone else has a perfect relationship, right? But most people, they're working through something. Therapy can help you recognize patterns that might be weighing relationships down. BetterHelp can be there to help you out. BetterHelp has licensed therapists in the U.S., and they do the initial matching for you So you can focus on your goals. And if you want to switch therapists, you can do that at any time. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BETTERHELP.com/lockedon. All right, here he is, folks. As promised, the host of Inside Coverage, the Yahoo Sports NFL podcast, the voice of the Cleveland Browns as well on the radio side. Andrew Siciliano with us, fresh from being at the Super Bowl for a couple of days now. Do we announce where you are? Do we talk about this?
I already posted it on the IG. Hello, D's. Live here from NBC Sports headquarters, the Gold Zone gets rolling. Not just Gold Zone. I'm so used to saying the Red Zone channel. Gold Zone. Fourth time we've been doing it here for NBC on Saturday, buddy. Gets going. Actually, today as we record this, Wednesday, there's curling beginning today. This is in Olympic parlance known as day -2. But like competition truly begins today in curling at 1 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday on Peacock. And then the opening ceremony is Friday.
You know, we are very close to Canada here. Windsor, they are our neighbors to the south, South Detroit, as people know. And curling is so great, big up there. So I know a little bit about it. Do you have to call curling? What are you doing?
So I'm not actually calling curling. However, big fans of the Corys. We have a mixed curling team here, a man and a woman, 2 Corys spelled differently. But for Gold Zone, we're showing everything. So 16 different sports, all the U.S. athletes, well, not just U.S. athletes, obviously, but every major event, every time there's a medal being contested in any of the 16 sports, you will see over 16 days of competition. You will see it on Gold Zone, not only on Peacock this year, but on the NBC-SNs as well, the RSNs, like if you have DirecTV, because I still do, up in your 600s.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah.
I was hanging out on the old Peacock last night for a little Indiana USC basketball late.
There you go. And, how about that?
Did see some promos, so this is very exciting. Well, you were just at the Super Bowl for a couple of days doing your shows. What was the vibe out in Santa Clara?
The vibe is, well, I was there early. So as you know from Super Bowls past, it kind of builds and builds and builds. But I did go to opening night on Monday. You have 2 coaches named Mike, 2 defensive coaches, 2 very different quarterback stories. One, I think, a pretty cool reclamation project. The fact that Sam Darnold is the first quarterback from the 2018 class to make it here. Actually, his second time here. He was a 49er a couple of years ago, never got in the game. Watching Brock Purdy in the game.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a great story. He has won a championship at Levi's, the 2017 Pac-12 championship for USC, beating Stanford. Sam Darnold threw 2 touchdown passes that night, so we could win another championship there. I think the Seahawks in general are a great story. And the other side of it, I mean, Mike Vrabel and I were living at the Residence Inn last year in Middleburg Heights, Ohio.
Yeah.
And actually, he was commuting from Park City. I was commuting from L.A. Now here he has a chance for an amazing turnaround and a pretty cool story there with the Patriots.
I mentioned yesterday on the pod, I said, it was a Super Bowl jealousy topic that I just brought up because this is the 3rd iteration of the Seahawks being in the Super Bowl with the quarterback coach combo, Hasselbeck, and Holmgren, Russell Wilson,
and Holmgren, and Pete,
and now this group. And like, can we just get the Lions like one time with just Goff and Campbell, or it can't get one, and it just kind of bummed me out because we've seen this show before, and it's like the Lions were so close a couple of years ago.
But you realize every team is always like the Commanders last year. Jaden Daniels' first year so close. The Rams this year, they've been there twice with Sean, but so close. That the finality of a playoff loss, or a team in the Lions case not making the playoffs, and that realization you're not going to make the playoffs. That finality is unlike any other in sports. The NBA, MLB, I'm not trying to downplay anything that they feel, NHL included, but to me, the Super Bowl is the most difficult thing to get to. And I was up there with the Rams at the NFC Championship game 2 weeks ago in Seattle when they lost to the Seahawks. Watched the game with a bunch of Rams people. from their building. And there is nothing like that gut punch. And I know the Lions felt it in Santa Clara a couple of years ago and they lost to the 49ers. There is nothing like it. And to get back there is a daunting task.
Andrew Siciliano with us, Yahoo Sports Inside Coverage podcast, voice of the Cleveland Browns as well, of course, long time on NFL Network and doing the Red Zone stuff. The original, as I like to say, Red Zone host. Tell me about where the Lions have to get to. You saw them in person this year when the Browns came down to the corner of Brush and Adams and had a tackle football game that day. And plus you see what Darnold is doing just as a pocket passer. People say, oh, Goff can't get there. He can't move. Well, neither can Darnold. So how far away is Detroit from where Seattle is now in your mind?
Yeah, Matthew Stafford's a pocket passer as well. So the idea is that the idea in Detroit that the Lions aren't going to win because Jared's a statue?
Well, that's what the anti-Goff faction.
That's malarkey. That is Mike Malarkey right there for me. Jared made it to a Super Bowl. Oh, by the way,
yes,
when he was young and spry, but not in any way more mobile than he is now. And if you want to go, but can we go down that road if you want to right now? Let's go back to Denver a couple of weeks ago. If Brandon Cooks was strong at the point of the catch in Atlanta that night, when Jared put it on him in the end zone, he might have won a Super Bowl, or at a minimum, that game would have been 13-10 in the fourth quarter and a one possession game. Brandon Cooks, not exactly, and I'm not throwing him under the bus. I love him, but he couldn't finish that catch. Maybe Josh Allen is playing in this game. So I don't think Jared's lack of mobility. Matthew Stafford obviously put 84, 85 points up on this Seahawks defense, the number one scoring defense in the NFL, and he can't exactly move. I don't think it's an issue for Jared. I cut you off.
No, it's good. I wonder too where the Lions are now. They're in a weird spot because obviously they relinquished the division this year. They ended up finishing in last place, technically tied with the Vikings, but Minnesota swept them. So it's like, how do you view Detroit from your lens right now, Andrew?
Obviously, I would love if the defense stayed healthy. I would love if you can, add some consistency and some new faces to that offensive line. I think the Lions are at a really interesting stage because, and I want to be careful here, they are not where the Bills are at all. However, you've gone down this road how many years now with Dan Campbell? This is the first year in how many years, remind me, not making the postseason?
3.
Okay. So it's not where they are.
Two, but yes. Yeah. I mean, the last 2, they had made it. And then this year is the first year they haven't made it since 2023. Yeah.
So you have to have the how do we get over the hump conversation. And I don't know what that answer is. I don't want to see Dan Campbell change his stripes and all of a sudden not be the aggressive, what to the wall coach. I think he still needs to be that guy because I think it is part of your DNA. I'm fascinated to see what Drew Petzing does. It's not as if Arizona had, these amazing 40-point a game offenses the last couple of years, but they've had major quarterback issues. They have to likely find a new quarterback in Arizona this year. You don't have to find one there. And I think it's a good marriage. It's not where I thought they would land, but I think it fits. I don't know Drew. I know the people in Cleveland really liked him when he left Kevin Stefanski's staff and went there. But I'm kind of excited. You still do have the weapons. Is David Montgomery going to be in the building?
It's a good question. It really is. You would think, Andrew, with Petzing's pedigree and wanting to run the football and 13 personnel, and he wants tight ends and backs, you would figure that would fit a Montgomery mold where, he'll find a way to get Gibbs and Montgomery on the field and kind of get back to the Lions running the rock like they did when they were in the playoffs the last 2 years before this one.
And that's exactly what Petzing did when he was with Stefanski in Cleveland. Interesting, by the way, that staff is getting the band back together in Atlanta with Bill Callahan and AVP. Oh, by the way.
Hey, you bring Jim Schwartz down there. It's funny that's it. In being the voice of the Browns, you got to be on top of this. And I saw your post yesterday just about Todd Monken talking, but the Jim Schwartz thing is interesting because he almost became the Browns head coach, and it would have broken the streak of ex-Lions head coaches never, ever getting another chance. ever. And
I didn't realize that's a straight.
close.
Well, I mean, I guess Jim Caldwell did not get another chance, right?
Mariucci didn't. Wayne Fonts didn't. Patricia didn't. Marinelli didn't. I mean,
they've all gone on. I mean, some of them have gone
on to coordinate, yes, but never
gone on to good jobs.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Patricia certainly has a good one now. It's not the NFL.
Right.
Steve Mariucci, of course, God's gift to comedic television, has a fantastic job as well.
Yes.
And one of the greatest storytellers of all. Have you ever sat at dinner with Mooch, by the way?
No, but I remember watching the two of you on the screen, and it was like you had to go to commercial, and it was like, forget it. The two of you were like
there were times I had to give him a hug, and I'm like, stop talking, please. I love you. He is what, like my good friend Kara Henderson, now Kara Sneed. Kara, we would often use the line of, like, whomever, one of my favorite humans. Like, Steve Mariucci has the title, one of the world's greatest humans. He is that guy, and I hope one day we could all go to dinner, because he is the greatest storyteller of all time, because he puts his whole body into it, and he's got arms like Frank Caliendo's bit on Game Day Morning a couple of weeks ago, where he's doing Mooch in front of the big screen. He is that guy at the dinner table telling stories about Brett Favre, who used to babysit his kids, by the way. Those are some of the greatest stories. Yeah.
Is Schwartz gonna? What's the story? Is he gonna go back to Cleveland? Or?
I don't know, honestly. Although I do, the way that Soundbite played yesterday on both Sports Center, I assume I was flying, I didn't see it, but certainly on social media, it got let me check. As of this morning, it had 2 million views. 2 million views on my Twitter alone. Wow. So a lot of people read it as a big, let's tell Jim Schwartz off. I think a lot of that, and the question was basically, hey, what about the defense, and what would you say to the players? A lot of that was a message to his defensive players, who clearly do like Jim Schwartz. They haven't hidden that, and they should. He was a heck of a leader for the defense. I don't know, a heck of a leader for the defensive side of the ball there. But that was his message, the way I read it from my hotel room in San Francisco, to his defensive players, saying, hey, guys, we're not going to change. Like, we're going to get after it. We're going to attack. And I love you. Like, Jim's great. And if Jim wants to be here, that's awesome as well. I'd like him to be here. But I need you guys to know I have faith in you. Like, we will do this together, and I will lead you. Myles Garrett, Grant Delpit, Tyson Campbell, Denzel Ward. Like, you love Jim, and if he's here, that's great. But I love you.
One more question on the Lions and what you saw this year. Obviously, the job Ben Johnson did in the division. Minnesota kind of doing a little retool here, and who knows who the quarterback's going to be, who knows who the GM's going to be. How do you kind of see that the division moving forward next year?
A couple of things. First off, with Ben, I think it's going to be interesting. I mentioned this on my Yahoo show yesterday. Like, what does the Ben Johnson tree look like? As Mike LaFleur gets a job in Arizona, very happy for him. Very happy to have a head coach my height in the NFL. Like, that is awesome. Sean's tree has obviously grown exponentially. Now Ben Johnson's tree is Declan Doyle, now out the door and getting coordinator job. The division, I don't know what the Vikings are going to do at quarterback, because both Kwesi and KOC made it clear when they had their end of season press conference. They didn't say competition for JJ. They said we have to have depth in the quarterback room, which is a very nice way of saying we need to bring somebody in to compete. Before Mike McCarthy took the job in Pittsburgh, I figured that with Tomlin gone, Aaron would look elsewhere if he wanted to play, and I thought it would be Minnesota. That wasn't just me brainstorming. I had Kyle Van Noy on my show, and he brought that up on his own. Like, I think Aaron goes to Minnesota. And now I assume he goes back to Pittsburgh, and I don't know who the other guy in the Vikings building is going to be. They're a great unknown, but you bring Brian Flores back, the defensive pieces are still there. The offensive line money that they spent last year did not really pay dividends. Ryan Kelly, unfortunately, had the concussion thing happen again. I assume he's not going to be back, so they have questions again on their offensive line. You have a wide receiver in Justin Jefferson that you have to keep happy. I don't think he's ready to go to Radio Row and say, get me out of here. But another season of middle of the road offense with quarterback questions, I think he might get there, even though he already signed the deal. So they got to figure it out. This year's quarterback class is not good. I mean, Kyler probably comes free. Tua could be had, but that contract is awful. It's Malik Willis for 10 teams, and he can't go play for 10 teams. Like Mariota.
Yeah.
Who else? Cousins. Could Cousins go back? Maybe.
Wild. That is a wild.
I mean, he could go back.
Cycle. Yeah.
Because Atlanta's going to have to cut him unless they totally redo that.
Do you want to make a Super Bowl pick, or should we talk?
Sorry, I lost you there. I said when they redid Cousins' contract a couple of weeks ago, they redid it to cut him, but that was before Kevin Stefanski got there. Can they find a way to keep him? They're not exactly jumping on tables down there for Michael Penix.
I final thing. Do you want to make a Super Bowl pick, or do we need to talk Paul Dolan payroll? Either one.
Oh, I've been saying Seahawks. I'll stick with Seahawks. I love to see Vrabel win it. Not that I'm a Patriots fan.
Yeah,
but just for Vrabel. But I'm going to stick with the Seahawks. I think they're the better team. You know, it's wild. This is the Patriots. Denver was the Patriots' first trip west of the Mississippi this year.
Really?
Like,
I knew the schedule was soft. I didn't realize
the schedule was easy, and the Patriots fans get angry and defensive about it. Guys, both can be true. You can have a really good team, and you have the easiest schedule. Both are true. Okay. One doesn't discount the other. They both happened, but they didn't even have to fly far. That's not their fault. And that's
right.
Not a reason to pick against them. It's just crazy the difference in roads here. The Seahawks had 5 games in the Eastern time zone plus a game in Tennessee. So they were constantly on a plane. They flew 31,000 miles. They crossed 34 time zones. The Patriots crossed 4 time zones this year before they got to the postseason. That doesn't mean anything on Sunday. I just think Seattle's a better team.
Great to see you, my friend. Safe travels. Good luck with Gold Zone, and
Thank you,
enjoy the remainder of your winter, spring, whatever this is.
Are you coming to Indy for the combine?
Probably.
And if so, why, and if not, why not?
I know you and I.
You know people there.
I do. Yes, it would be a family affair, but
that's my point.
Fine, I'll think about it.
Think about it. I will buy you an old-fashioned and a shrimp cocktail at Elmo's.
We'll have to get some folks as well from the WAR takeover thread to be there as well.
Yes. So, I mean, how many do you have that thread muted?
Do I have it muted? Our text thread?
Because I get them all, but I had to mute them because, like you, I work on my laptop and I'll be doing a show and there'll be 38 notifications.
I know it's rough. It's rough.
About Dave O'Brien calling the SU basketball game.
This is way too inside. Craig Grialou will be at the combine. You will be too. So, all right, he's on the thread with the Cardinals. So maybe, all right, we're gonna have to take a look at this. We will.
And then Everett's texting about Batman, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Andrew Siciliano with us from Yahoo Sports. Watch and listen to the podcast Inside Coverage.
I've given you no information about the Lions.
This is fantastic. No, it doesn't. This is great radio. This is good podcast. This is what David Locke, the man that runs our network. This is what he wants. He wants entertainment, and that we're bringing it to our listeners today. Andrew, thank you.
We are locked on mediocrity.
Man, did we lose cabin pressure doing that? That was absolutely hilarious. Love having Andrew on the pod. And Locked On Lions for this Wednesday, brought to you by our friends at Home Chef. Who is hungry? All right, I'm recording right now. It's like 5:45. New Year getting here. A lot of people are trying to simplify their routines. Dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, packed schedules, Having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule, 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or quick lunches, and over 30 weekly options, including family-sized meals and different dietary choices. Save time, save money with Home Chef. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. And we're also brought to you today by our friends at Gusto. Yes, that's Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in. Take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnfl and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnfl. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnfl. All right, wrapping up today's show. Tomorrow, I'm going to make a promise. We're going to do a call of the day. I got to shout out my Everydayer Club, Locked On Lions Everydayer Club at lockedonlions.supercast.com. Please join, be a part of it. One of our call of the day candidates tomorrow is from the Everydayer Club on our Discord server. It is a lot of fun. I'm going to watch as many David Montgomery videos tonight and recap even more tomorrow. Man, I'm feeling good about Monty coming back. That's our guy. That's Joe Allen's guy. Another one of our everydayers. He loves number 5. And we thank Andrew Siciliano for joining us as well tomorrow, Thursday, Locked On Lions. See you then.